Yeah. Testing one, two. Let me test this thing out, man. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got here. Bear with me, guys. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Okay. And I believe we're live. Let's see, live here. Okay. Okay, guys, if this is Andrew Rayburn here, I'm mixing engineer from Pristine Productions. Give me a shout out, guys. Let me know that you're watching. I'm a little new to all this live stuff, so I'm giving it a try here. Let me know. Okay, I have one watching. We're gonna be talking about some mixing in a few here, guys. We're gonna be talking about how to balance balance the mix. Just making sure everything's running. Oh, send me a shout out. Okay, good. Okay, yes, watching from. Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. So we're going to talk about mixing, balancing off your mix. Welcome all my subscribers. This is my first live stream here, so I do apologize for the delay. I had to set up some stuff, sound card and all that stuff. You know how it goes. I do apologize for my voice. Sound a little bit damp today because I have a little bit of cold. But let's get into it, right? So we're going to talk about balancing the mix, right? And remember to subscribe to my page if you haven't subscribed already. And hit me up if you want to donate as well to Pristine Productions. I have the routing number and the account number on my about page. So I have a soca track here that I built, and you want to make sure that you have your mix balance, right? When I mean balance, I mean using the faders to get a good balance here on your mix. So um, if I can bring up the, okay, here we go. You want to make sure, depending on the genre of your music, that it's balanced well. You can hear the kick drums and that stuff. I'm gonna play a little bit of this track I made here. Let's give it a spin here. And one moment. Let me hit it up. Soca glitter rhythm. Let me quickly bounce down the bass guitar here. One moment, guys. And this is just so I don't use up too much CPU. But like I was saying, you want to make sure the bass is aligned proper. If you're doing acoustic music, you want to make sure you're feeling the guitar. If it's just the guitar and the vocals, You want to make sure the vocals is there, not too louder than the guitar. The guitar is not too louder than the vocals. So in this example of this soca rhythm here, I'm gonna start off with like basic gain staging. People might tell you never push your faders past 0, which I would say is a good guideline, but if depending on certain songs, if certain things need to be pushed a little bit more, there's no rules to it. Sometimes I'll go over the 0 on my fader and go like 2 or 3 dB up, and I'm not breaking any law. The mix just sounds better that way. But generally, I try to keep everything below 0, so you have a good balanced mix here. So I have the first keyboard here. This is gonna be the pulse. Let me turn off a couple more plugs. So I'm using the wave station here, the Korg wave station, and this is gonna be the sound that is driving the mix. So you have to identify the elements here. What's gonna drive the song? For this soca song here, the soca rhythm is gonna be this wave station here. This is the sound I want to hear in the song. Now, I brought in some introductory sounds here. The Dune. That's why I wanted the track to start, right? I wanted the track to start with that little da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And when it comes to that, we have the kick drum comes in. So I'm gonna bring in the kick, clap, snare, and cymbals, and I'm gonna rough it in here. So now I'm gonna start off with the kick. You wanna go to low. You wanna get that kick right up there. So right about there, because you wanna get feeling, right? You wanna capture feeling. So I'll start with the kick there, and let's bring in the cymbals. Bring it up. Right about there. Let's see what's going on with the snare. You want the snare to be a little more snappy. So I'm bringing it up to about minus 8.7. And then I'm gonna bring in the claps here. And notice on my faders here, everything is going below 0. So it's good to practice to bring all your faders below 0. Or let 0 be the limit line you want to push the sounds. Like the loudest start from 0. And then you pull the rest of the faders down to balance the mix. Because if everything is ridiculously over -0 going all the way up, it's going to wreak havoc on your main output. You might create some distortion if everything's louder than the main output. I'm sure you guys saw that on YouTube, and a lot of YouTube reviews on that gain staging. So I want to start that off, and that's creating a feeling. I'm getting the kick drums to be hitting right there while the keyboard's playing. So let's move on to the other sound. We have another wave station here. Let's see what this is doing. Okay. Now we have like a string section here, and it's a little bit louder than the first wave station. I believe the idea, apart I had a delay on the machine. The idea for this second keyboard when I was building this rhythm here was to let this string complement the first pad. So I'm gonna drop the fader a little bit on the second one here. Let's bring the track back. So I'm gonna bring it up so it blends. Right about there is sounding pretty dope. Let me make a few switch arounds here. And let's bring in the bass line. I'm gonna put that on the output of music. Now mixing the bass in with the rest of the elements is a little bit tricky. You want to feel the bass, you want to make it breathe. So try to generally put it a little bit underneath the volume of the kick drum. Or if you want the bass to be dominant, let it be just a little bit, maybe half dB over the kick drum. You're creating feel. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. 1 dB. A little bit lower. Maybe a little bit lower. I'm going about 4 dB now. You drop it onto the point where you're feeling the bass blending nice with the mix. It's just gonna sound nice and blend. I can't explain. My ears are telling me about -4 dB. I'm feeling the bass right there. Maybe I'll go a little bit lower. Let's try 5. As you bring in more elements, guys, you can make adjustments as well. Let's bring in the guitar here. I'm sorry, the percussions from West Africa Contact. Now, this is one of the main elements of soca here, so you want to make sure this is well heard. So I'm gonna play with the faders here. You want to hear it, but not too much, but just dominating the mix. Let's see what else I got here. I have something from a silent here. GAT Transcentral preset. Let's see what's going on with the sound. Okay, now this is gonna bring in the meat of the track here. So I'm gonna take this down just a little bit. And big up to is it Pep Squint? You put the drums onto the mix or the melody, or it varies. Put the drums onto of the mix on top. Oh, okay. It depends. It depends. For example, in this track here, the drums, since the genre is soca, You want soca. If you study the culture of it, you, the drums dominate, the percussion dominate, the melody dominate, horn section, everything. Everything has to be heard and balanced. So it's not like trap beat where the 808 is on top of um, the kick drums, and then you hear that boom boom sound. That is the culture of trap. You hear that 808. If you ain't hearing that 808, man, it ain't trap. So in this, the drums is the pulse here along with the synthesizer. So I'm gonna bring the silent down a little bit. Check this out. If I bring the silent down, it's gonna create a more room for the lead vocal. It's gonna create a more distant sound when it hits the chorus. You want to save like this main sound for the chorus. But if I bring it in up higher, a little bit more volume here, let's bring it up again. It more creates a more aggressive feel when the rhythm hit that part. Create more tension. And I have a live drum here from Contact, which is complementing the rhythm. So I'm creating like a live feel also with the soca tune here. So it's sounding like somebody in the studio playing the drums along with the rhythm. So let's play the full thing here. And you're gonna hear that live drum come in every now and then, you know, just liven it up. You hear that tom hit, doom, 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 doom. You know, so that's what I want to share with you guys here. So I'm gonna take this time here, and it's my first live, so I'm gonna answer some questions here. Yeah, so feel when the rhythm hit that part. Okay, so let's see what Pep Squint. I'm trying to get the name right, man. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, man. Rohan Foster. How do you do drum fills? Okay, good question, man. How do I do drum fills? Okay, so Rohan, what I do, it depends on the genre. I do it from hand, man. You know, like I literally play the keyboard. I have a Carbon Samson MIDI keyboard that I have set up with my drums. And being a musician for over almost about 15, 16 years now, Rohan, I've learned to compose and do different hits on the drum with my finger. Because I play with so many bands, I learned some of their groove and how they roll, especially in soca music. So it's a more of a skill thing, you know. So when I create these rhythms, you hear that roll here, like in the beginning here, you hear that soca roll. Listen to it. Doom, 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 you know. So it's more of a skill. It's more of a skill angle, my brother. Pepe Squinte. Okay, man. Okay, I got the name right. Forgive me if I wasn't saying it right. Yes. Anybody got any more questions for the engineer? I do thank you for tuning in and watching what I'm doing with these rhythms here. Yeah. So let me know what's going on, guys. So Rohan Foster, I hope that answered your question. How I do drum fills. especially in soca music. So it's a more of a skill thing, you know. So when I create these rhythms, you hear that roll here, like in the beginning here, you hear that soca roll. Listen to it. Yeah. So sound selection, where to get those good drum samples? I'm just gonna say Pepe, man, cause if I'm saying Pepe is squint and it's a whole lot, I'm just gonna say Pepe. You know, respect. Um, okay. The drum samples. I use, as you can see, I use 2-to-1 live drummer, which has one of the most authentic drum sound. You know, this thing here, I used it for dancehall, reggae, a whole lot of stuff. The kick samples itself is coming from the Akai MPC 2000. This thing has a buttload of sounds, and also using some heavy hitting kick samplers from Deadly Drums. So from time to time, it varies. Here's the Akai um, Pepe. This is what the Akai looks like. It's already wired with the keys. It's have all this nice authentic sound in it. And I really encourage you guys to use drum machines, virtual drum machines over samples. The reason why most of the drum machines is already beefed up. It sounds pretty punchy and nice. So you do a little bit of EQ and you balance it off, or you can add something like the console shaper on the instrument itself to fatten it up, or a tape machine. Because if you use a regular sample, because I have like this one here is from the uh it's total it's just wave files. The Dudley Drums kit, it's already punchy, so I do minimal EQ on it, you know. I can even make old kick drums, flappy kick drums sound somewhat good, but a good thing to practice is making sure that the original sound source is sounding good already and punching. So it's gonna save you a lot of headache, man. You know, I've gotten sessions from producers and artists that the kick drum was not too punchy, and I had to add another sample and blend it in, so I don't change the original vibe of the artist. I'm just adding to it. So I hope that answered your question, Pepe. Oh Lord, Pepe, Pepe. Yeah. So and I want to congrat Pepe and Rohan, my two viewers here for my first live. So I appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. Yeah. And so yeah, I'm open here for a question, guys. I'm just gonna wait. I think the stream is a little bit delayed behind, so I'm waiting to answer your questions. Feel free to subscribe and tell all your friends to hit up the producer, and look out LA next year. I'm flying over there. I'm going to be touching down in California. I'm bringing the Caribbean sound with me, and we're going to change the whole trap game. We're going to bring some Caribbean vibes to the trap and pop up the dance hall, man. So, Rohan Foster, you're very welcome, my brother. Feel free to ask questions anytime. You know. So, so while I'm waiting on, if you guys had any more questions, I would like to talk about It's very important to make sure you're picking the right sounds. You want no wimpy sound in your mix. Pick some nice sounds to get your stuff going. Try to practice that. Let's see. This thing is saying 3 people are watching, but I'm not seeing a third person. Yeah, so most of the time when I build rhythms, I'm using the Akai. Has a buttload of drum kits here, and I can make anything, trap beats, reggae beats, because it has a variety of sounds. I will encourage you guys to make sure you're using analog plugs to give that mix that fat, fuller sound. Highly recommended for beginning producers and seasons. Use the magic AB to always check how your mix lines up. For example, whenever I'm mixing, I want to make sure my sub is in place, stereo width, everything, overall dynamics of the mix. I would play my track, then I'll switch to B, compare that with Britney Spears. And in a couple of seconds, I can tell my mix is on level along with them. And I appreciate the love. Remember, we as engineers, we're always learning. Okay, Rohan Foster has a question. What about layering? How many layers you need to fill up the frequency spectrum without making the mix become muddy? Good question, Rohan. What you do, again, it goes with feel. This soca rhythm here, I have a kick drum, clap, snare, cymbals, two synthesizers. This Dune key here, which make this sound. I have the bass, and I have one more keyboard that brings in the lead sound or the climax of the rhythm. And I have a live kit drum, so I have quite a few elements here. But what I do, Rohan, I add, if I'm building trap, reggae, pop, whatever, make sure I'm adding elements to it because I have a pretty good idea. Like I wanted this soca track to be punchy and have some futuristic synthesizer sounds. I add the elements to it until I feel that it's full. And to prevent it from getting muddy, because if you look at the kick drum here, I have that running out of auxiliary track here, and I'm rolling off 31 kilohertz on the lows. So you want to make sure you keep doing that. You don't have to do it for all instruments, just where needed. Here I'm cutting some 22 from the claps. On the synthesizer, high pass about 92. I'm getting rid of low sub information that I don't need. So far, like this sound here, right? Nobody's gonna hear the difference from 90 go down, 90 kilohertz go down to about 60. So I'm rolling it off, and that way it helps keeps the mix tight and not getting muddy. Because if you leave all these sub information untouched and not high passing or rolling off, it's gonna start to build up over the entire frequency spectrum, and your mix is gonna start to not sound too good. So you gotta make sure you're keeping those in check. Sometimes I would use just one drum kit, kick, drum, snare, bass, and just an instrument. In this case, I would use effects like reverbs to dominate that sound spectrum and still make it sound fat. I can make 5 instruments sound full, just like it is if it were 25 instruments in a mix. So making sure that your mix, you know, you know the vibe of the tune you're going for, and your and you have a pretty much good idea how to make it sounds emotional, like reverbs. That alone can fill up the frequency spectrum and make that track song hip, Like trap beat, for example. You hear the 808, you hear a melody with reverbs on it, and some kick. There's not a whole lot going on. It's just proper mixing, make things sound wide and fat. Yeah, so that's to answer your question there, Rohan. Yeah, so and also, guys, I will be doing some more contests soon. I'll be giving away plugins and drum kits for you producers out there. So be on the lookout for that. Pepe is asking, better to mix in mono or stereo? Right now, and I'm going to show you something. What I like about Studio One, I can click one button and it's going to let me hear everything in mono. Mixing in mono, and I'll say this, is dead, Pepe. Do not mix in mono because mono is not representing the stereo feel. If you want to check phase issues, then switch to mono. For example, I'm going to switch to mono right now. I'm going to play my mix. This is what it sounds like in mono. Just to make sure everything is still intact, you check it in mono, especially lead vocals. If you switch to mono, you realize that part of the singer vocal disappear, there's something wrong. You have to check, see if there's any phase issue. But mono doesn't represent the stereo, obviously, so you want to hear the full mix in its context. Mixing in stereo, you can hear the width, the reverbs, and all these things occupying the stereo feel. So mixing in stereo is the way, Pepe. Is the way. And like I said, man, I'm in music for love. This is the gift God gave me. I was born with it, and I love to share and interact with other producers. I don't make the music change me, man. I change the game in the music. All for the love, not the likes. So be real with yourself. Never be prideful when it comes to being a good, successful mix engineer. Humbleness is the key. All these producers I've met through social media, like Beyonce, Master and Engineer, these guys are cool. They're humble. So I encourage you guys to practice the same thing. You never know what door is going to open next. Who knows? Maybe Cardi B may end up on one of my mixes. Who knows? So, yeah, guys. But I'm gonna let you. I'm telling you, I'm enjoying this live streaming thing, though, man. I think it's way better than me just recording videos and bouncing it down and uploading. I like it. Shout out to YouTube for that. So let's see. Let's see. I'm going down the list here. Anybody get any more questions for the engineer? This is the feedback segment from Pristine Productions. And I had to read the books, guys. I had to do a lot. I had to study music theory and overhaul, reboot my mind into understanding what engineer actually is. So this is what I'm trying to teach you guys out there. So if anybody has more questions, I'm here to answer you guys. My Source Gospel. Hey, Stephen Murphy. Bless up, King. Everything blessed. Thanks for tuning in, man. It's my first time. You know, I'll be doing a lot more live sessions here. Pepe is asking about. Okay, I think I have a few books, Pepe. I'll try and look for it, and I'll email you. Send me your email, and I'll email you some basic stuff you can do in music frequency that more or less has the area where the vocal dwells lead. Like guidelines. Some good stuff to practice. Good basic recording goes a long way with a professional sounding mix. So you want to make sure you keep those intact. So and a lot of these sounds are coming from some old keyboards, like the Korg station here. I have the new stuff, but most of the time I use the old stuff because they sound more authentic. You know, I know exactly what sound I want, and I want certain vibe to it. So that's why I use certain keyboards for certain sounds. Sometimes I use an old horn section from an old M1 rather than using something from Contact because I want that certain sound. Yeah. Yeah, guys. So, anybody else have any questions here? I'm here to answer. And like I said, I want to shout out and thank you to all of you guys who tune in. Shout out to Stephen Murphy. And shout out to everybody supporting my page. Enough love and respect. Respect, brother. Yeah. Yeah, guys. So, engineering takes time. Takes time. Oh, good practice. You could make a lot of artists happy. So, without ado, I'm gonna be tuning in. Later on, we're gonna do some more mixing videos. So we're gonna go live. And let me know what video you guys would want me to show you, or what to talk about, whether in Studio One, whether you want me to show you how to edit certain stuff, how to route, why I use certain plugins, why the pros use it. Let me know what I can do to help you guys and keep that subscriber number going up, guys. This is Studio One 4.6, and it's working like a charm. And I don't see nothing else that has a fast workflow as Studio One. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream. I want to thank you guys for supporting me, for supporting Pristine Productions, and we're gonna do another live later on in the day. And let me know what all you want me to talk about. So this is a soca glitter rhythm here, and we're gonna be doing more tracks down the road.